Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the video. My name is Gobind and this is your channel for grace. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thank you for giving this video a thumbs up and also hitting the notification bell so you get notified of when I go live and when I upload videos. Today we will be talking about November astrology. I've gone through the entire month and selected the most important dates, the most important transits, and we'll be talking about how they're going to be affecting us as a collective. I will show you the charts for each of these major events and we will analyze it, we'll dissect it, we'll have fun letting ourselves learn about astrology as well as I show you the charts. So if you've never watched this video before, just hang in there. I am going to transition onto the charts in a moment. But first of all, what I wanted to tell you guys is that the November videos, so we're looking into this week, all of the November individual videos, which I do every single month. I go through the whole zodiac and I go through the events, the major events of this list, and kind of give you an idea of how this is going to affect you individually as your specific zodiac sign or your rising sign. Well, this week the videos will be coming out on the 31st on Halloween. And that is actually the day that Mercury goes retrograde. So I want you guys to be ready for November because it's going to be a really powerful month. Speaking of Mercury retrograde, we do start this month with Mercury retrograde. And this Mercury retrograde is going to make us dive really deep because it is in the sign of Scorpio. It's about getting to the truth, understanding the truth, asking ourselves, have we committed enough? Have we overcommitted in some areas of our lives? This retrograde will help us rethink things in our life and help us figure out what is right and what is not right for us. So that's important. And remember that retrogrades invite us to reflect. And with this specific Mercury retrograde, because it is going to be lasting for a long time, we'll be gaining this very deep understanding of our life, especially looking back at this entire decade that we're about to like transition out of. Like, can you believe 2020 is coming? Crazy. So we're going to understand the why of why a lot of this has been going on in our lives. And what I mean by this is like all these changes, all these shifts, all these things that have been just happening like one after another. It feels a little overwhelming, but it's important to understand why this is all happening. And this is what it's going to do for us, this Mercury retrograde. If you are ever interested, I highly recommend you get a natal astrology reading from me, and you can do so on my website, which is channelforgrace.guru. And then you go to natal chart reading or natal astrological reading. I can't remember what it says exactly, but that's where you go to sign up for a reading. I highly recommend it. We are in very, very important times right now, and it's important for you as an individual to know how all of these transits are going to be affecting you. And there's only one way to find out, is by looking at your natal chart and doing the transit charts. So if you're interested, just wanted to throw that in there for you guys, and the link to that is in the description of the video. The other thing that's happening this month of November, it very much feels like a month where we get few last opportunities to really like find our path, find our way, find our purpose. And once December comes around, and you'll find out in a month what December is like in the December video, once that comes along, December is going to feel very solid because we see the planets start to move into Capricorn. For example, Jupiter, that's a huge one. I think he goes into Capricorn on the 2nd or the 3rd, right at the beginning of December. And Jupiter in Capricorn is not like Jupiter in Sagittarius in its home sign. And Jupiter is playing a big part of why November still feels like expansive, still feels like we're opening up. And sorry about the dogs barking if you can hear them, but it still feels like there's discovery here. Still feels like there's this opportunity to be curious and to figure out what it is that you truly want in your life. November feels that way right now. So it is a portal. It is an opportunity for us to take advantage of the transits that are going on and stay open to receive messages from spirit that we are, in essence, we're channeling. It's our intuition. We listen, but we don't just listen with our ears. We listen with our hearts. We listen with our third eye. We listen with our crown chakra. What is it that's trying to come through? What is your purpose? The thing that's happening in November that's really cool, that does connect to purpose, are the nodes. The nodes move into the first decan of astrology, of the 30 degrees, which means there will be between 0 and 10 degrees of Cancer and Capricorn. And this is significant because whenever the nodes move into the first decan, which means what I just said, they're between 0 and 10 degrees, their power intensifies. We hear the call stronger to go towards our destiny. And remember that the North Node is in Cancer, saying move towards your emotions, move towards what feels comfortable, move more like towards home, and allow yourself to feel and trust your emotions because they are your guiding system. And the South Node is in Capricorn, saying move away from shutting yourself out, move away from being so hard on yourself, ease up a little bit on pushing yourself to the limit. You've already learned how to climb that mountain because Capricorn is the goat. He climbs and climbs and climbs and reaches goals and is really ambitious. You've already learned how to do that. So now it's time to let your heart sing. It's time to listen to your heart, to trust your heart. So let's move on over to the charts. And let me double check that you guys can see these edits, these markings that I'm making. We may have, hang on, let's see if I use my hand. Okay, I'm gonna have to just reconnect. And my pen just ran out of batteries, of course. We're getting ready for Mercury retrograde. It makes a lot of sense. So let's go. Here's the code. I'm not surprised one bit. I can use my finger on these charts. So there we go. Can you see that? Yep. Okay. So today I get to use my finger instead of my pen. And then we'll charge that baby up for next show, which is actually next week, or not next week, but when I do the astrology for the full moon in Taurus, which is coming in November. We'll talk about that right here in this video. So here we go. November 1st, Venus moves into Sagittarius. Where are we at? Right here, 0 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is about finding a little bit more ease with things. It's about knowing that you'll always have what you need. So there is no need to overcommit. There's no need to push things forward or force anything to happen. Venus in Sagittarius has a much more relaxed and curious attitude towards relationships. It's also the second benefic. And so it's connected to Jupiter in this way. Jupiter is the greater benefic, and Jupiter has been in Sagittarius in its home sign for a while now. And so Venus moving into Sagittarius connects us to that like expansive energy as well. We're going to feel much more sociable. We're going to feel much more friendly, much more outgoing. If we start to feel like relationships are encroaching on us, we're going to push back because our freedom in this sign, Sagittarius, is more important. The pressure is like lifted during this time of Venus in Sagittarius, giving us this moment to take a breath between the intensity of Scorpio and Capricorn, which is the sign that Venus moves into next. So it was just in Scorpio, really intense when it comes to relationships. Now it moves into Sagittarius. We get to relax, we get to take a breath, and then it moves into Capricorn. So back to earth. So it was like water, fire, and then back to earth. So it's important to know these things because these things affect us in our lives, and I know you can feel it. And as you listen to and pay attention to how you're feeling, that is how you understand how these transits are affecting you in a more personal way. So enjoy this time, especially because Venus and Jupiter are going to be making some major aspects this month that will magnify this Sagittarius energy of freedom, of curiosity, by opening up a few more doors for us to expand and discover who we truly are and what we truly want in life. Both Venus and Jupiter will be moving into Capricorn soon too. So this month is the last time we will see this powerful conversation in Sagittarius, and it will be Sagittarius season as well. Let's look at the next chart. The next chart is November 4th. On November 4th, there's a few things that are going to be going on this day. So November 4th, we've got Mars squaring Pluto. Remember, Mars is still in Libra, but he will be squaring Pluto, who is right over here. The other thing that's going on is the moon will be squaring the sun. And Juno, the symbolism of the sacred divine feminine, moves into Libra. Now that's a good thing. So with Mars square Pluto right here, we don't give up very easy. This transit tells us that change is coming. It also gives us that extra push to make things happen. So be careful not to tap into the negative expression of this aspect and resort to manipulation and intimidation, especially when relationship conflicts arise. Because Mars in Libra is trying to make things fair, but we're dealing with a lot right now, especially when it comes to relationships. So just watch yourself, because we can get impatient trying to make things happen. The moon squaring the sun, that's another pretty big transit, pretty big aspect. And the moon will be in Aquarius on this day, and the sun will be in Scorpio. So this is tension that is created because the moon in Aquarius wants us to intellectualize our emotions and think more, and the sun wants us to dive deep. So we're going to feel a kind of an opposition between wanting to dive deep into issues and then just kind of skimming the emotional surface or thinking our way through things. The moon in Aquarius does give us the intuitive ability to know what other people are thinking. That's like the moon in Aquarius superpower. I'm actually thinking of doing a video to talk about your psychic gifts, as what sign your moon is in, and also what are your superpowers. For example, if you're an Aries or a Taurus. That's another video I've been thinking about doing. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. And also let me know in the comments if you have any questions about any of these charts, because I want to be able to guide you guys through all of these crazy things that are going on. So that's our psychic ability during moon in Aquarius. And so it adds this interesting flavor to this transit. But either way, when the moon squares the sun, it's tough. It's tough to find emotional satisfaction. We tend to be self-critical, and it becomes difficult to connect emotionally with others unless we feel totally secure. So we have to work towards finding that security before acting on this specific day. And then the last thing, Juno moving into Libra on this day is significant because she represents the divine feminine and relationships. And this transit, or this aspect, is going to alleviate some of the tension caused by the Mars-Pluto square and the Sun and Moon square. She's going to help us see the beauty that we have all around us and help us to find the gratitude and the fairness in our relationships. Because that's what Libra is. Libra is about seeing the beauty of the world and being fair and being open and understanding other people. So she will be here to sort of ease some of that tension, which is actually a good thing. Let's move to our next chart, which is on the 9th of November. What's going on the 9th of November? Saturn will be, here's Saturn, Saturn will be sextiling Neptune. Here's Neptune, and there's the sextile. This is the last of 3 sextiles this year with Saturn and Neptune in their home signs. Basically, and this is exact, 16 degrees. Saturn and Neptune have been telling us that with hard work and a realistic approach, you can make your dreams come true. And this is the last time they will do this in their home signs, which is why it is important. We're going to see there are many of these moments of like one final chance to activate, one final chance to step through the door in November. And I highly recommend that if you have not taken action yet towards your dreams, which is what Neptune represents, you better do so now, because starting in December, like I said, the astrology changes and the energy shifts and it becomes solidified. So we're going to be, in a sense, stuck with what we have. And if we haven't started to do anything to achieve our dreams, if we've been doing the same things over and over and over in any aspect of our lives, we will feel like we missed the boat. The boats will be taking off in December. Just remember that. If you don't know what it is you're supposed to be doing, because this is important, if you don't know what it is that you're supposed to be doing, look towards the North Node in Cancer. Because the North Node in Cancer says you're supposed to be doing what you love, not what you have to. You're supposed to be happy, not unhappy in life. You're supposed to be moving towards more passion, not away from it. So do you get this picture? Basically, are you answering the call? Are you answering the call? It's simple, but it's not. Here we move to November 12th, the full moon in Taurus. There it is, sun and moon opposing. And the Mars sextile Jupiter. And that is exact. You can see them at exact degrees. 19, for the moon, 25 for Mars and Jupiter. This full moon is in Taurus. And it's going to give us a moment to come up for air. I know that sounds funny, but that's exactly what it's going to be doing. A moment to come up for air. It's like we've been in this like deep underworld, and now it's time to see the light again. We get to check in with what we've been manifesting, what's becoming, because that's what Taurus is. It's the values, it's the material world, it's what you're creating. And remember that Mercury on this day is still retrograde. So that's interesting, because Mercury retrograde makes you have an internal journey. Either way, this is the day you're going to feel like you can finally breathe again. Thank the Lord. So let's take a deep breath. That's what it's going to feel like. And the sextile between Mars and Jupiter is this portal. It's this door that will open up and we get to expand a little bit more. We get to explore a little bit more. So take this opportunity, because it is one of the last before everything gets solidified in December. You're going to get stuck with what you created. So at least start. At least get a head start on it. I mean, if you've been doing the work, you're going to be good. But if you've been not doing the work, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but like start, do something. If you want to change, most likely if you're watching this video, you want things to shift. You want things to change. So what are you doing to do that? Just check in with yourself. We move on to November 14th, where Venus squares Neptune, and this is exact. Sun sextiles Pluto, and Mars sextiles Jupiter. And you'll notice that Mars and Jupiter will have moved from 25 degrees to 26 degrees, but they're still sextiling. They're still having this conversation. One more thing is that the moon will be opposing Venus, and that's significant. So Venus and Neptune are inviting us to dream up what we want in regards to relationships with their exact conjunction at 15 degrees. Plus, with Jupiter also in Sagittarius, it expands this energy. Mars, sextile Jupiter, I mentioned it before. The door is still open on this day. So this is a transit that starts on the 12th, on the full moon, and it goes to through the 14th. That day, those 3 days are going to feel really exciting, like activating. So take advantage when it comes to creating your dreams, your manifestations. With the moon opposing Venus, there's actually a T-square here. Let me show you what I mean. Let me delete some of this other stuff. So check out this T-square between the moon, Neptune, and Venus. So what this does, T-squares create tension to be resolved. Our emotions play a huge role in our relationships during this time because of the moon. The moon comes into the conversation between Venus and Neptune. The moon is going to be asking us to pay attention to what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And then the last one is the sun sextiling Pluto. We get insight into the truth, into what is really going on underneath the surface. A desire to make it all happen and a clear lit path forward. It's like we know everything that we need to know in order to move forward. Pluto takes us there. Ideally, you guys, by this day, you will know where you're going, which direction you're moving towards. There's this thing happening in the world right now. Humanity has literally been splitting into two groups. Those that know how to follow their intuition and those that don't. And people that believe in themselves versus the people that don't believe in themselves. And the people who are able to let go and move forward and those that are not able to. By this point, some people are going to be really clear as to where they're going, and some people will feel really lost in their life. Guess which group I'm going to recommend you be in to make it funny, right? But trust me, you're going to want to be on the train towards clarity and destiny, not on the train towards confusion. On the 19th, we've got Mars, look at that, boom, 0 degrees of Scorpio, directly opposing Uranus. The moon in Leo, again, squaring the sun. And then look at this, Jupiter and Venus are moving a little closer together because they will be conjuncting. This is one of the aspects I was talking about. Venus Jupiter aspect that this month is huge. So Mars in Scorpio is much stronger than it is in Libra. So it's like, it gets excited. It's like, let's do this. I can work with this energy. I know this energy. But because it opposes Uranus, we're going to tend to be a little impulsive. We're going to tend to like not think. You don't think before you act. You don't think about the consequences. Uranus is change, it's shift. There's also going to be, so the moon in Leo is like drama, right? And when it squares the sun, you're going to feel like, so here's what's really going on this day. Because it feels like something is building. That's what I get from this chart. It feels like something is building up to something big. And you'll notice that this is what November feels like. It's building up, building up, building up, and then boom, December kind of hits us hard. But the moon will bring in this aspect of like drama. And like, how are you going to resolve it? So that actually, you know, this day will just feel like intense energy, intense emotion, intense drive. So be careful, like, be careful what you choose to act on. That's what I want to say about this day. Be careful what you choose to act on. Like, check in. Does that make sense to do this? Does it make sense to take this type of action on this day? Like, you have to remember that, and you have to ask yourself that. That will be the guide. That will tell you what the, you know, whether you're on track or whether you are not on track. On the 20th, I don't have the chart for it, but on the 20th, Mercury finally goes direct. Literally, you guys, from the 31st through the 20th. That is like almost all of November. That's a lot. That's a lot. But by this time, on the 24th, when Mercury has already gone direct, we have seen what we need to see, and now we're ready to continue forward on the journey. On the 22nd, Sun enters Sagittarius, finally moves out of Scorpio. We are in Sagittarius season. We move from understanding where we are, from going deep into that underworld, and then you come out to explore. You're like, wow, I learned all of this stuff that I needed to learn, and now let's take all that wisdom, let's take all that knowledge, and let's move forward. Sagittarius has this link to spirituality, freedom, knowledge, and optimism because, one, it is ruled by Jupiter, and two, it is the natural ruler of the 9th house of spiritual integration. This is a time for you to be honest with yourself. Keep that curiosity alive. And be adventurous. Don't let that fire die. Don't let that fire get put out by fear and dark emotions. We're going to find more reasons to be independent and free-spirited, and we begin to truly understand where we stand on this day. Because look at this, along with the sun moving into Sagittarius, look at this, boom. Jupiter and Venus conjunct, and the moon conjunct Mars. And then again, that opposition to Uranus. So that opposition with Mars and Uranus lasts a few days. This day is going to be strong because the moon on this specific day is actually in its dark phase of the moon because we're getting ready for like the next new moon. And this tends to bring up things that need to be released, or things that don't really feel good because they require processing in order to move forward. The moon is going to be conjuncting Mars. So this, and the moon, because it's right next to Mars, it also opposes Uranus. This is a moment where we're being redirected again. Uranus has this ability to change things up unexpectedly. So if you feel like there's an adjustment that you have to make, don't be surprised. This is a good thing. This is a really good thing. If we didn't have Uranus, we'd all be stuck. This is the big ticket item right here. This is huge. Jupiter and Venus conjunct at 28 degrees. And, you know, the galactic center point is at 26 degrees of Sagittarius. And that's like about, I think it's about right there, or whatever, 26 degrees, somewhere there. That's where the galactic center point is. And Jupiter and Venus are actually aligned with it. And because they're the two benefic planets, and because they both love to be in Sagittarius along with the sun, this is a really positive aspect. It's going to bring good luck. It's going to bring good positive energy. But because it's a dark moon phase, it's also going to ask us, you know, that there's still this desire, this need, the universe asking us to release our attachments. This day is going to be a quantum leap, you guys. Quantum leaping. into the universe, towards destiny. Or, because there's always, I like to bring in the positive in the astrology, but you guys, you know, I don't have to tell you that if you go down the wrong hole, if you go down the rabbit hole, if you activate the negative things, if you live in fear, you're gonna use the energy for the opposite thing of what it was really meant to help you do, is to like quantum leap forward towards your destiny. You have to remember, we've been changing since 2012, since the end of the Mayan calendar. The universe has been, hey, change, expand, change again, expand some more, deal with this, let go of that. We're learning. We're learning how to flow with the energy. It's really important that you listen to your intuition during this time. On November 26th, we finally get to new moon in Sagittarius. However, look at that. Ooh, Venus moves into Capricorn. Mars is still opposing Uranus. And this is the significant thing. Neptune is on its last day of being retrograde. The next day it moves direct. Jupiter, however, is still in Sagittarius. So there's still that power right there, that expansiveness power. This is cool because the sun and the moon and Jupiter are in Sagittarius. And the moon also quincunxes Uranus. So there it is again. More Uranus aspects that ask for change. Check this out. On this day, guess what we begin? Eclipse season. Eclipse season, you guys. This day is massive. It marks a huge transition into the energies that we're going to be seeing in December and in January. It's the beginning of eclipse season. Things start to get a little more serious, especially with Venus. Venus is the first one though. Okay, I'm going to jump over to Capricorn now. Let's get serious. It's also, like I said, the last day of Neptune retrograde, and Saturn or Pluto are getting closer together. Remember January 12th of 2020, they conjunct. Uranus quincunx this new moon. It's going to activate our energy because Uranus is that Kundalini energy. On this day, you might feel like time stops, like you're in the eye of the storm, and you're given an opportunity to see exactly where we've come. Sagittarius energy opens up the portal for opportunity. From this day forward, things start to feel really heavy. It's like reality sets in, and there will be less energy supporting change and more energy supporting stability and a sort of like hardening, like I said, becoming solid into what we've already manifested. And so it's not like you can't manifest anymore after this day. It's not like there's a door that closes. What happens is the energies won't be that supportive of that. They'll be more supportive of something else. We actually end the month with Neptune going direct to the exact next day, so on the 27th. And this is about creativity, our dreams, and our imagination coming alive. The not so positive side of this is that you get a choice. You get a choice between staying connected to reality or escaping into the illusions. Because when Venus was retrograde, that was the reality hit. But now when it's direct, it's like you can escape if you choose it. But do you really want to escape? If you've been doing the work, Neptune direct will give you a sense of being truly connected to the beyond, the stuff that moves beyond the crown chakra. But if you feel lost, like your life has no purpose or meaning, Neptune might cause some people to escape with things like drug, alcohol, addictions, whatever it takes them out of this reality. Do you see what I'm saying? There's an escape button. And so if you're prone to wanting to escape, don't Don't escape. But all the Capricorn energy coming in, there's also going to be a balance between these energies here. So let me transition back to me, because I want to tell you about the highlights of December. In December, the ship has left the dock, you guys. Jupiter moves into Capricorn. We have eclipse season. We have an eclipse in Capricorn on December 25th, a solar eclipse. We have a winter solstice on December 21st. Venus moves into Aquarius. Mercury starts flying through the signs. After this long retrograde in Scorpio, Mercury starts flying through the signs, moving into Sagittarius, and then Capricorn by the end of the month. More Capricorn. There's a lot of planets direct too, which means all systems go. So we're going to be moving forward like choo-choo, chugga-chugga-chugga. You know, like the train is like leaving the station because we're preparing for that Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January. And this is why these last 2 months of 2019 are huge. They're huge, huge, huge. And November is the last time where we're going to feel the expansive energy of Sagittarius, of Jupiter and Venus and the sun in Sagittarius opening doors for us. It'll feel easier to create, easier to transform, easier to expand in our lives. And then once Capricorn comes and all the planets are moving into Capricorn, it's going to feel like, okay, now this is what you created. This is what you get. And if you haven't created, you can still create. It's just going to feel like moving through molasses. You're like trying to get there. You know, like in dreams where you're like, something's happening and you're trying to run towards it, but you can't. You're like moving all slow, like, God, I can't get there. That's what it's going to feel. That's why do what you got to do to create the changes in your life that you want. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please share this video out with your friends. You can text it to people. You can post it, share it to your Facebook. You can share it to your YouTube post if you're a YouTuber. You can send the link any way you want to. But I think that people really need to know this information. And if you resonate with it, more than likely, the people that you love, your friends, your family will also resonate with it. I also want to know how this information helps you in your life, in your perspective. So please leave a comment below and tell me what you think. Also, the other thing is I have been here in the chat. I'm sure you noticed. So I have already been answering questions for you guys in the chat. But if you are watching the replay, then make sure that you leave a comment below and let me know what you think. I love you guys. Let's get November going. Let's dive deep, let's do the work, and let's come out on the other side ready to get on that train. Get on that clarity train. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing November. And make sure to check out your individual sun and rising sign and moon sign because they will be coming out on Halloween. Ciao.